Hello again, everyone. We are back for the last session of the day. Once again, thank you for joining. And now I leave this virtual floor to Ms. Valérie DEPAUX, Chief Operating Officer of Societe Generale Seoul branch and board member of the French Korean Chamber of Commerce and Industry, FKCCI. Thank you, Valérie.
Thank you, Oriane, and thank you to everyone for joining this session. I know it's the last one of the day, but not the least interesting one, actually. So, yeah, I'm very pleased today to act as the moderator for this session. As you know, we're going to talk about the challenge of closing the gender gap, in particular in the tech environment. Actually, this topic is also, I have a specific interest in that topic, actually, because on top of my day today, as Oriane mentioned, I'm working at Societe Generale, but I'm also in charge of the Gender Diversity Network for Societe Generale in APAC since 2015. So actually, I'm quite interested in that specific topic. To exchange on this sensitive topic, we have the chance today to have great speakers, and I'm pleased to have them today to talk to and to share with us their personal and professional experience. So without spending too much time, I'd like each of you guys to introduce yourself. Maybe we can start by Siham, Miss Siham Low. Siham, can you just share quickly who you are and your background? Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Siham. I'm a partnership manager at GERMINAL, and I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm a community building expert. And to see quickly what I can give you for closing the gender gap team today, I'm a French ambassador for Ximin's business program. This program was launched by Facebook 3 years ago in France, and I live in France. And I encourage all women to own their own business.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Siham. We also have Miss Kelly Park. Kelly.
Hello, nice to meet you, everyone. I'm Kelly Heejung Park from Girls in Tech Korea. I'm not sure you're familiar with the Girls in Tech. Girls in Tech is San Francisco-based global nonprofit organization established in 2007. Since then, we have expanded globally. We have more than 60,000 members and more than 50 chapters around the world. Our mission is to female empowerment and leadership in the tech field. Personally, actually, I'm a translator. I'm not sure if you know that, but in Korea, translator is like all women, more than, I'm sure, 90%. So for me, the gender gap was not actually on my mind, but because I love my technology, because technology have a power to change the world and the way we live in the world. And then I realized that actually this is the tech world is actually the opposite. So I realized that this is we have a lot of the stereotyping and all this kind of awareness issues, especially in Korea, given that Korea is a very Confucian, male-oriented society. So I'm very happy to be working with the Girls in Tech to change that step by step. And I'm very happy to be here with you to talk about it.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Thank you. We also have Mr. Hyung Kim from L'Oréal.
Hello, everyone. As I introduced, my name is Hyung. I'm currently a Human Resource Director working in L'Oréal. L'Oréal is today a beauty tech company. So from the brand and product, now we are moving into everything surrounded on the beauty with the technology based. I am also a diversity and inclusion coordinator in L'Oréal, which is an important piece of the group strategy. At the same time, personally, I'm a father of 2 girls. So naturally, the gender gap was something that I've been always personally interested. Professionally, with L'Oréal, I've been with 20 years in L'Oréal. And then, of course, as you may imagine, L'Oréal is a company that has a high interest and intention to narrow the gap. And sometimes our gap can be a little bit different. Actually, in our case, hiring men is a big challenge. So we are always struggle to attract more men to the beauty business, which is probably have been interesting to see with the other challenges, because most of you may have an opposite challenge. So yeah, I'm very excited to be a part of the panel today here.
Thank you, Hyung. And last but not least, Enzo GIAN, I give you the floor.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. So my name is Enzo GIAN. I am the co-founder of the Korean branch of Wagon. So if you're not familiar with Wagon is an international coding school, and we teach web development and data science through very interactive boot camps. And as you may know, unfortunately, web development and data sciences in particular are still very male-dominated today. So worldwide, and especially in my case for Wagon Seoul, we run a series of very recurrent events to encourage women involvement and just increase the number of women involved in the tech industry more and more. So in the past, we have run Women in Tech and Women Coding Days, which are free events dedicated to allowing women, as many as possible, to just discover for themselves what coding is and if it could be for them and suitable for a career. We actually did that in partnership with Girls in Tech and Kelly, who is on the panel as well. So yeah, I hope to be of an interesting contribution on tonight's talk. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Enzo. I'm sure I will learn a lot from your expertise and experience as well. So actually, coming back to our topic, I think what would be interesting to discuss is where do we stand today in terms of gender gap in tech environment, and how maybe through the education, through recruitment, through career progress, how can we have more women in tech environment and have women thrive in these fields actually. So maybe as a start, I'd like to share with you the results of a recent study, a very interesting one, led by Accenture and another organization, Girls Who Code, relating to resetting tech culture. And according to that study, it showed that women are clearly underrepresented in the tech sector. So I just want to share a few figures. I will be very short, but I think it's very important to discuss about the current situation, to see where we stand. And according to that survey, what is very surprising is that the gender gap for women in technology is actually worse today than it was back 35 years ago. I was very surprised by that. But the situation is worse than the one that was back in 1985, actually. Another interesting figure is that 50% of women abandon technology careers by the age of 35. Women are leaving tech roles at a 45% higher rate than men. And last but not least, only 21% of women said they believed the technology industry was a place they could thrive. So as a first question to the speaker today, what I'd like to know is why we are seeing this regression, which is, for me, which was very surprising. And why is tech such a difficult field to thrive in for women? Maybe I can start by Siham.
Yes. Do you hear me? It's okay. It's a very tough question. I think that we have the lack of the role model. It's the big problem in that case. It's not only for the tech industry. You have it in each industry where men are more representative. I think if I ask you a question today, if I ask you just to think about a great CEO of a tech company, or just a CEO as well, not for only on tech company, do you think about women or men first? And me, the first, I think about men of great CEO, Elon Musk, Facebook, etc. And I think we need to have more role model. It's one of the response, the answer. And the second answer that I can talk about today is that at a certain age in France, I don't know really in Korea what if it's the same, but I think so. In France, we have I don't think it's a problem, but at 35 years old, most women become mother, and in France, it's 90% of women are responsible about the domestic tasks. So it's always the mother that is responsible about their kids having a great education, the care of kids. And when you work in a company in tech industry where you have the bro culture, it's a problem because you don't fit with the culture of your own company, so you quit. And I think it's a big problem, two problems: the lack of role model, and I don't know if it's really a problem, but it's a reality that you become a mother and you don't fit anymore with the culture of your own company, so you have to quit. And I think that we will talk about that after. I think the education of girls are a big point here.
Yeah, indeed. We will talk about education later. We will talk about the burden of being a woman also, not only a working woman, but also a mother. Maybe Kelly, what do you think? What is your opinion in particular regarding the lack of role model, as Siham just mentioned? And how do you see the regression of women in the tech industry?
I think I'm kind of surprised. I thought France was doing much better, given that you guys are more advanced in that development than Korea. But I understand that it's kind of globally all women are suffering the same issue. So I think obviously also in lack of the women role model. So well, how can I say, we have to start somewhere. So I think that's why we're going to take like this kind of organizations playing an important role to present the role models. So even though it may be a small step and small contribution in the beginning, I think it's important for women to think not only ourselves, but also about the future generation. So we have a lot of female founders who are willing to share their knowledge and experience to the future generation without any compensation. I think it's important to lay the foundation for this kind of woman to present to the future generation.
Thank you, Kelly. Enzo, on your side, any thought?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually recently having this conversation with one of my very best friends. She's a cybersecurity expert back in France, and I was asking her about her studies that she did in university, and she told me that, well, she did computer science, and first and foremost there were 200 students and only nine women enrolled as students, so that's already a big gap. But my question to her was, did you have over the course of your 4 years at university any female teacher? And her answer was no. So to me, it's still a big problem of creating a safe and comfortable environment, and also going further, providing role models for that. I think not only if in your course in university you're 9 women out to 200 and not even a few teachers can relate to what you're going through, that might be a bit of a problem. And this, for me, is one of the reasons why it's mostly intimidating for a lot of women to actually get involved in these fields, even though they would like to. So I think definitely the lack of role models can be a big problem for that, and teachers as well. So as you know, my field is education, so I'm sure we'll get into that deeper in a few minutes. But for me, role models and education-wise has to be the stem for creating a safe and comfortable environment for more women to get involved in the tech industry.
Thank you, Enzo. And Hyung, maybe at L'Oréal, you were saying that your challenge is maybe to get more men. But anyway, did you see? Did you have the same feeling that there are less and less women in tech industry, due maybe for lack of role?
Well, probably in any industry, the woman leaders were scarce, and then probably whether you call it politician or even in the typical business world, I mean, we do have a problem of the woman underrepresented. Even in L'Oréal, although generally we are woman-driven dominated company, so 70% of our employees in Korea are women. But we used to have this issue that on the management level, we had more men, which is obviously was a big issue. that we've been fixing over the years, and now we are quite that we reach the right level. I think when it comes to the tech industry, probably what we need to see is that 35 years ago, the tech industry was probably very, very small. And today, tech is a dominating industry, which is hiring the big pool of the people. So definite number of the women, I'm sure that has been increased significantly. And now the world is changing. We will see that more and more women stepping into in the different area. If we speak about Korea, I think the tech industry has this image of the poor work-life balance. You have to be in your office all day. But now recently with the law of the 52 hours, I think the industry has significantly improved the work-life balance, so that it will naturally probably attract more women.
Yeah, hopefully more flexible work. Actually, as you all say, we may have also an issue at education side. Enzo was sharing his experience with his friend, being maybe one or just part of 9 women out of more than 200 male. There is a clear general lack of women in science, technology, engineering, mathematics globally. So we understand that tech may be a difficult field to thrive in for women, but how can we have more women studying these fields? Kelly, do you have any thought on it in your organization?
How can we? I think I think it's just about education. I think that's why we've been promoting a lot of the events, such as like bootcamp, design thinking, bootcamp, Python, hackathon, all these kind of things. So we actually have a pretty low barrier to enter, because in other, like for example, hackathon, they actually demand a high level of engineering or computer science background or a lot of work experience. Then if you are just female who didn't have much experience, they are intimidated to join them because they feel like they are unqualified. But in our case, we lower the barrier so they can join it without any feeling pressure. So I think it's important for them to feel comfortable and try their new territory. So, I mean, not all women are people for science. It's a fact, right? So some people may like it, some people don't like it. But I think it's important we break down the barriers. So especially emotionally, because in Korea, I think we have a very divided feelings about this is a women's job, like a teachers, like flight attendant, translator, or working for beauty company like a L'Oreal. I think this is like a dominantly feel like, oh, this is a woman's job. On the other hand, computer science, or management, they feel like it's a man's job. I think we'll have to break down those barriers so they can try their preference and their new future.
Thank you, Kelly. Actually, that's the main question we may have. Is it a lack of interest from women in the STEM fields, science, mathematics, engineering, or are there some bias from women to just stepping in this type of job? Siham, I don't know on your side, how do you feel about it?
I just want to share an experience with you. I talk with young people in high school, and they told me that there is a big prejudice in our society that if you are a girl, you have to do literature and to do history and philosophy and things like that. And if you are a man, you have to do mathematics, informatics, engineering, etc. And I think that we have to improve our capacity at school in France, but in other countries too, to take to girls that you can do everything you want. That one fact, to kill this prejudice that women can't do mathematics, but we have to fight for the equality. And when I say to young girls that they can go to take market and they can do mathematics or engineering, etc., I can't say to boys, to young boys, that they can do also what they want to do. And if you go to literature fields or history fields, it's okay. And the problem is not that the women don't go to that field, it's that you have women in, okay, it's a problem with girls, but we have to say to boys that it's not a problem that if they don't want to make engineering studies or things like that. And we have to fight about equality in both sides.
So it may be not only a school or university education topic, but maybe also the topic of education at home, right?
Yes, it's a great problem with parents, because parents, they just, if you are a boy, you can't do literature, so you do or theater or things like that. And when I talk with these young people, they told me that when you are girls, it's very important to hear women or men who say you can do that, or teacher, you can do that for living, but boys have to hear the same thing for them too.
I see, thank you. Maybe Hyung, I know maybe on your side at L'Oréal, you are more maybe on the recruitment side, but still, as a HR, do you see you are also working on recruitment? Do you see there are more people, more women attracted by tech today? You have inside L'Oréal actually lab or tech also. I'm sure you have tech departments.
Yeah, I think there is an increasing interest overall, regardless of the gender, on the interest for the tech, science, and more today, the business like us, we are hiring people, data scientists, who are coming with a strong scientific background, and then we do see there's an increasing women's in this area, which I think today more and more this typical stereotype in the gender is removing, and then as people are freely taking their profession, I mean, in opposite way, we found that very, very difficult to attract a man working makeup product, makeup brands. But today, there are actually great marketer, or even the great product developer of the makeup product can be a man.
Yeah, wow, a lot of hope then for the future. Enzo, on your side, so you shared already a bit, but I know you are also, your field is education. Do you see more and more women?
Absolutely. So funny thing is that overall this year, we run boot camps, and so this year on 3 boot camps that we did, we had a crushing majority of women attending our boot camps. So that's very, very good news, and we were very, very happy to be able to provide such a welcoming environment. But I would like to really express my agreement with what Kelly said, and also Siham. I think because there is such a pressure from parents or the hierarchy or everything that has already been in place to enforce the fact that women should not be doing these jobs, or that these jobs are not for women or whatever. I think it is very important for us tech actors, and especially education sectors, to be able to provide opportunities for women to just give it a try, see for themselves what it is, because oftentimes, because they were always told that don't look at that, it's not for you, maybe they just don't always know what it's about. And so it's important to just provide the possibility to have a look, see what it's like, if it's interesting for them. So absolutely rejoin Kelly on that, where we at Wagon, we try to do as many events as possible to just provide a first look at how it can be, and always providing a very welcoming environment to that. So not only are we doing women coding days, so where women can come and see for themselves what it is, having no prior experience, no selection process whatsoever. Just if you want to come see if that could be a career for you, then do it. But then we have to go further and make it welcoming in terms of, we have to have women teaching staff. We have to have these role models that we were talking about just earlier, I think it's overall we have to fight these stereotypes of women should be doing these jobs and not these jobs on every scale and on every level. So not only do we need to give them the opportunity to see for themselves if it's something that would interest them, but also make them feel that if it is something that would interest them, that they would feel comfortable and that there are women before them that have done that and that they wouldn't be all alone in a pool of male-dominated environment.
Yeah, so to be open-minded and try, at least give a try. So listening to Hyung, listening to Enzo in particular, we can see maybe more and more interest in women from tech industry. This is a good news, but still, as we discussed previously, and the survey I mentioned at a preliminary statement actually is very recent. It's the one from Accenture and Girls Who Code. Still, the gender gap for women in tech is worse today than 35 years ago. So I understand there may be more and more interest, but what can companies do better actually in order to push a bit more? And maybe on L'Oréal, I understand you already made a lot at L'Oréal and you made a lot of progress to be more inclusive, more diverse. It would be interesting also to know if there are some concrete measures you can share with us in order to increase or to fill the gap, I would say.
Well, I think first you have to start from necessity. I mean, so how to take this gender balance as your competitive strengths. And that, I think, needs to be convinced and cascaded throughout the organization. So it has to be something that everyone believes in, that having diversity in the organization will make the company or the team or the organization more stronger. Which I think in L'Oréal, this is something that we've been working through the years. So there is a good level of the consensus that having both men and women together is to weigh the best way to meet our consumer needs, which is also men and women.
So you have concrete KPIs, for example?
And then, of course, there's a concrete KPIs that needs to follow. Actually, we have these two layers of KPIs, which is the management level is the increase women, and then for the non-manager level, increase men. So it's a two-way of KPIs that every year we have a specific target by country. And then today, I think I can proudly say that in the management level, whether in Korea or global level, we reach 50-50 in terms of the men and women. Also, not only KPIs, 20% of my bonus is about how far I can achieve my gender balance target. And 50% of my talent acquisition manager, who is daily interviewing candidate and attracting different profiles. KPIs, the bonus is driven by the level of the achievement and the gender balance. And this is the very strong way to push everyone in the organization to move into this direction. And then strong and then most efficient way, I can say.
Yeah, very impressive, actually. I think indeed touching at the financial package could be maybe the most incentive to progress on this. Kelly, you want to say a word on it as well?
Yeah, can I actually just add on some about the D&I program? Because it seems like many global companies have adopted the diversity and inclusion program. Actually, Girls in Tech Korea has been collaborating with the AWS diversity and inclusion team within the company. So actually, they're all volunteers. So that I'm quite surprised and impressed by the composition. I thought it would be all women, but actually, it's quite a men also representing the D&I program. So it means that I think when we think about D&I, I think many are actually mistaken that it's only for women or like actually marginalizing men. I think it's not men versus women. I think this is a stereotype we have to break down, because actually it's about for both of us, right? So we want to create the harmonious, friendly environment for all of us so we can be comfortable without thinking about stereotype or genders. I think that's the main point. So I think it's great for L'Oréal has been very specific when it comes to like the D&I programs. But I think many companies should also think about that in their company as a policy too.
Yeah, agreed. Maybe Siham, any thought about what companies could do better to have more women onboarded and in tech?
Yeah, I don't really know. I can share what we do at GERMINAL, but we are a small company, but it's work for the moment. So I think I can share that. At GERMINAL, we oblige ourselves to have 50% of application form from women at the beginning of the process. If you have a lot of women at the beginning of the process, you can increase your chance to hire more women at the end. So our HR manager make this process with the lead of the team to have more women at the beginning. And for now, it works because we are in a tech company, and 2 years ago, maybe there is maybe one woman for 10 men in the team. I don't know exactly the word, the figures, but now we are more than 50% women in the company, and in some jobs like development, coding, more tech, growth marketer jobs, etc. We have more women than men, so it works. And now we have the same problem that L'Oréal, we have to hire more men. So I think it's an example that when we can do, and we change the text of our application announcement to be more inclusive, because we know that women don't have to be an expert at 80% or more to candidates, and not men. So we change all the texts to be more inclusive and to say, if you don't have all the skills, you can apply too. And we have more women like that.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing. Enzo, on your side, any thought on what company could do better or could do to increase the number of women?
Well, absolutely. I think, Siham said a very, very interesting thing. I'm afraid I might be repeating myself a little bit, but it's also, for me, what's most important is really creating a welcoming environment. And that starts not only with, as we said earlier, giving the opportunity to try and see how it is, but also to feel comfortable when they get in. So not only do we give the opportunity, so in our specific case, to join the Wagon, we give the opportunity to discuss with alumni. So as many alumni as they want. So if we have women potential candidates that want to discuss with previous students about how it is to be a student at the Wagon and to learn code, or even to talk with alumni who are now working in the tech industry, to talk how is it to be a woman as a developer in a large team, how did the Wagon so really provide a nice environment with equality for everyone. And I think this really goes through the company culture of just saying everyone is welcome, provided that you are motivated and that you are ready to put in the effort and be tolerant with everyone. So it's just with everything you do, starting with your communication, how transparent you are on how you run things, and how easy you give in the information. All these are factors that will participate for women to feel more comfortable. And if they feel more comfortable, I think they are more likely to get involved and apply, whether that is for a job or a formation or education thing. But I think, because how many times have we looked at a job offers and they put a picture of the team and you see only men? That's quite intimidating. So you always need to go through every little thing that you do in a way that is as inclusive as possible to make everyone feel as comfortable as possible, and as if they want to join, make sure that they understand that they can join.
Thank you, Enzo. Indeed, I think the friendly environment is very key. Something that was quite interesting also, what you just said, Enzo, is the sharing experience, because actually sharing experience, I guess, then we can create maybe a role model within the same organization. It can give idea to women to just change their field or just maybe indeed apply to some role that appears as a start as maybe a more male role, but actually that could be open to all. So that's very interesting indeed. Sharing experience could be one of the solutions. Thank you for sharing all this thoughts. Actually, we were talking about the good balance between men and women. We are talking about all the policies at the recruitment side, also regarding how we can ensure to have a right balance on gender. But we need also to think about the career progression, because it's not the topic is not to have exactly the same number of men and women, right? It's not the target to have 50-50. We also need to ensure that in their progression, women are also evolving in the same way regarding their salaries, regarding the opportunities than male. And we have to say, I have to say that due to societal expectations, some managers may have certain bias, not only male, actually, female manager as well. So I think it's, the mindset is also very important. The culture of a company is very important. How can we change the mindset? And in particular, maybe how can we ensure that men act maybe more as advocates and more in the logic of cooperation, gender cooperation, more than competition? Because we have, as we know, a lot of male manager. How can we ensure that they are also part of the action? And maybe what women can do better also, speak up, or so. Hyung, on your side, as your HR director hat, what is your thought on it?
Well, I think it's the main topic of a gender gap. It's actually in reality coming from this career gap. And then if you really look into especially the gender pay gap, it's all coming from the women's. Typically with the maternity, they have a career break, which after this kind of break is very difficult and challenging for them to be back on the track and then the competition. So normally, I mean, before, when we see the progress of the pay and then career progress was for men and women, there's no difference between until they reach the time that the woman's delivering a baby, and after that, that's where the change and the gaps start to begin. So I think how we view this will be the key as an organization. And then I think this also is changing today with all this remote working policy and the environment, which allowing and then giving probably an environment for women to carry on their career in while actually they are having this maternity break. And at the same time, what we did in L'Oréal is that now we are seeing the maternity period, leave period, as they worked. So we are including this period in their career, in their salary progress, in everything we do. So we consider that this break is no longer break. It's not a career gap. It's actually career. And then that's where you start to see that things are being a little bit more in the equal way. I think when we start to introduce concept that people feel a little bit strange, awkward, both men and women managers, because they feel, this person has been 1 year away with a childcare leave and a maternity. How can we treat them as the same as the other person who's been in the company working hard? But now more and more, I think is well accepted and people understand. And I think this kind of effort can narrow the gap.
Thank you, Hyung. So actually, internal policies can help indeed to fill the gap, or at least to avoid such gap, in particular for maternity. We know maternity is key and usually where women tends maybe to regress or to maybe even to leave the work and the business. But maybe Kelly, do you have any thought on it as well? Do you feel that male in Korea are very supportive, in particular in the tech environment?
Well, personally, I don't think they are ready to let it go, but I think they have to open to the new future. And then, as Hyung said, that many people actually have they have sisters and mothers and also daughters, so they have to think about the future. We go together harmoniously, right? So, but I think the important thing is that company also have to provide the kind of environment. But I think for organization like us, I think we provide more venue or platform for them to be together. So for our membership, many people think it's woman only, but I think even when we're holding the event, 70% are also dominantly women, but 30% actually men. So I think there are many men who are interested, but they're just feeling shy so they don't normally come out. But if they have an opportunity, they come out because they know this is the future to go, right? So they know, they get educated, they get acquainted to the new idea, or they want to know how they can be supported, because many are interested, but they don't know how to support. So it's all about exposure, I think. Yeah, so because Korean men are kind of slow in that sense, because I think they don't have opportunity to get educated. I think it's important for them to be exposed and get educated.
Thank you, Kelly. Yeah, indeed, education again is key. We discussed about it. Maybe Enzo, we understand you do a lot to build the friendly environment, to help women to be more active in this the tech field. Do you think women can do better, and what can they do better?
Yeah, surely everyone can do better. That's for sure. Well, I can go back to what I was saying earlier about being more open to communicating within people. So what we do is put people in contact with alumni who can share their experience. I think if more women who actually made it would speak up on how it is to, because a lot of women speak up on how hard it has been to make it to where they are, which is very, very good, and we all want to hear success stories. But I think not only should they share about how hard it is to make it, but also how everyone should actually do it, and encourage more and more women to actually do it. And that goes back to the very first thing we said in this talk is role models. And I think there's a lot of mentorship programs and mentees and mentors and women who can guide and provide more guidance for young women who want to get involved in the industry. So I think these kind of programs can be very, very beneficial for everyone, just to be able to show the way, in a way, to say not only is it possible, but if you do need help, then you can rely on me, or you can turn to that community or that community. And I think women who code or girls in tech, like Kelly is a part of, are very, very, very good for these kind of movements to get more and more people involved.
I see. And maybe Siham, on your side, have you seen any change in the behavior of women more recently, maybe for the young generation?
Yes, I don't know, but if it's a question of generation, but there is still that myth that in tech industry, or not only in tech industry, that you have to work like crazy with our extended hours, and you have to choose only your careers or your parenthood. And I think the next generation is not like the old one. It's not a good word, but sorry, the precedent generation. And I think the next one will be more. They want to work, but they want to have a good life to aside. For example, in GERMINAL, there is and I don't Enzo what he said before, but we have a great environment. If you want to work only 4 days and to have 1 day in a week to you, to your family, it's okay. And if you want to go to school to have your kids at 4 p.m., it's okay. So I think that company would make a great culture for that in one side, and in the other side, and what we do with Ximin's business program, it's to improve our skills and use digital skills to I don't know, to improve and to have a great careers. We do that not only for women who want to be entrepreneur. You can just make the masterclass and after just work for a company. And we have training, networking. We also have mentoring. And the great part is that you can reinforce the sorority program with this Ximin's business program by Facebook. And I think we need that. One part, change the culture in our companies, and in other part for women to improve our skills and to just lean in. You know, it's what Sheryl Sandberg said. You have to lean in.
Yeah, thanks. Interesting. So you were mentioning more flexibility, maybe, so that you can just catch more attention from women. Well, we have just a few minutes before the Q&A, but I think the last question also that could be quite interesting to this session is we cannot just not talk about COVID-19 and the potential impact on gender in particular. We know working women, they are shouldering more of the burden of juggling their career, remote learning, they take care of their kids, they are also sometimes take care of their parents. And according to recent survey, again, women are actually disproportionately and most negatively affected by COVID compared to men. Do you think that COVID-19 impacted women also in the tech world in particular, or because the tech is very flexible, startup, you can work when you want, maybe the impact was maybe less important? Enzo, what do you think?
Oh, that's a difficult question for me to answer. Yeah, I don't. You've caught me on one that is not really my field. So
you don't see any on your side. You did not notice any big impact due to COVID?
No, not really. I think in a way, more and more people realized that they couldn't be reliant on old technologies, and that the tech field could be interesting. And I think more and more people moved to the tech field and got more interested in the tech industry. As many women as men, I would say. We've seen a growing interest in web development, data sciences, and all these jobs that can be done remotely wherever in the world, and that has been a very widespread influence from COVID-19. So I'd say that everyone is impacted equally.
Yeah, no difference. Kelly, did you notice on your side any negative or neutral?
Yeah, I think it was a very negative. I was actually thought the remote work can be actually a good thing, but actually I was pretty mistaken because I'm not a mother. So, but I heard this story from my friend, and actually it's a small startup. So when the COVID broke out, everybody was working remotely. But one person, she's pretty playing an important role when it comes to like the programming and the data science. But she cannot send her kids to the daycare, so she ended up being at home, taking care of the babies, at the same time working. So when the COVID subside, because everybody come back to work, and the founder was expecting her to come back, but she refused to come back because she cannot go without leaving the baby at home. But I actually understand both sides, because as a founder of like a small startup, so you need everybody together in a group so they can move forward, having a discussion immediately and make a decision and things like that. And but as a mother, she cannot abandon her baby to come to work. But at the same time, she was kind of not doing the favor. Like actually, she's doing the disadvantage to the company. So it's like a lose-lose situation. So I mean, I can understand both sides. So I was pretty like, as a woman, I understand the woman's position. also as a, I can understand founder's position too. So it's like, I think this is really important for the government or society come up with the solutions for that, because this is not something that can be solved by the individuals.
Yeah, indeed. Companies also have to provide some flexibility, clearly. Okay, Hyung, maybe if you have any thought on COVID-19 impact, I don't know, on L'Oréal, have you seen any?
No, I think COVID-19 impact everyone. So both men and women are suffering. But I think overall, I think women are more suffering from this burden of a thin line between the work and life. I hear actually many working mothers during the lunchtime, they have to rush in office, they go out, there's other people and having lunch and comes back. But now in the COVID-19 situation, when you're home, you have to take care of your kid, you have to take care of your husband, you have to take care of the food, clean, everything kind of fall into as additional work. So it's a big burden for the So I can see that really is a simple thing, but it has a big impact on their work and life, because that's kind of a additional thing that you have to take when you are in home. So I think, this we will learn from everyone. Everybody will learn, but we have to find a way how we keep differentiate work when we are working from home, especially for the women.
The right balance at home this time, not in the company. Okay, Siham, I don't know, on your side, have you noticed any trend as well?
No, I think Hyung has said everything.
Okay, great. So I think we still have a few minutes, like 9 minutes, to go through the Q&A. I can see one question from Michael Yin. So I'm just reading the question for the speaker. Given the Me Too movement, what are the companies doing to prevent future mistreatment of women in the workplace? So maybe a question for you, Hyung. So do you want me to read the question again, or can you see it? Yeah.
No, I can see it from the Q&A. So thank you for the question, and I think it's something very, very critical at this moment. Both having men and women treated fairly in the workplace, and then I think especially in Korea, what is fair is radically changing today. So people obviously has a very high standards to be respected in the workplace. So that's, when it comes to L'Oréal, we have a very strong speak up policy that is allowing and also educating people to speak when they see and when they feel. And when they start to question themselves if they are not treated fairly. And then this kind of policy is not just a policy, but at the same time, creating a channel that they can connect directly to like headquarters if they feel it's not treated properly in the local management. So there's kind of a monitoring system, and then other way to raise your voice is something that L'Oréal has been doing so that there's no such a mistreatment. And then at the same time, we have a zero tolerance policy that's in the group level, which needs to be clearly communicated and explained to the people. That's the best way to prevent all the potential mistreatment cases in the workplace.